After 20 years as a mechanic, I have noticed an ironic truth. Drivers with 15 or 20 years of experience on the road often make things the hardest on themselves when their car acts up. We sweat all weekend under the truck in the driveway, while a professional mechanic in a shop finds the exact problem in 5 minutes. It is not because they have magic powers. The difference is that they always stick to core diagnostic shortcuts. I have seen countless careful veteran drivers throw money out the window just because they ignore these basic checks. The habit of overcomplicating the problem and trusting old-school instincts is quietly draining your wallet. One single wrong guess can easily turn a very minor glitch into a $2,000 to $3,000 bill for replacement parts you never actually needed. Today on Core Car, I am going to show you 7 of those exact diagnostic shortcuts. And make sure you stick around until the very end of the video, because the final shortcut is a survival rule. Even the most seasoned DIY mechanics fall into this trap, and it causes them to accidentally destroy incredibly expensive electronic systems on modern cars. Number 7. The dashboard denial. You have been driving the same truck for 8 years. You know exactly how it feels and sounds. So when it starts idling rough at stoplights, you immediately start diagnosing the problem in your head. Is it a vacuum leak? A fouled spark plug? You're listening to every sputter, relying on your decades of driving experience. But there is a little orange engine light glowing on your dashboard and you are completely ignoring it. Here is what is actually happening under the hood. Modern engines have dozens of sensors measuring air, fuel, and timing thousands of times every single second. When the engine runs rough, your car's computer already knows exactly which cylinder is misfiring or which specific sensor is failing. Trying to guess the mechanical problem just by listening to a rough idle is like trying to guess a recipe by smelling smoke from an oven. You are working completely blind, which leads to buying parts you do not need. The solution is incredibly simple. Stop guessing and read the code. You do not need to pay a dealership $150 for a diagnostic fee. You can buy a basic code reader for $15 and keep it in your glove box. It tells you exactly what is failing, saving you hours of frustration. That mistake is common. But our next shortcut is exactly the opposite. It is about trusting your own eyes before you trust the internet. Number 6. The blind swap. You order a new radiator or starter online. The box arrives, you rip it open, and you spend 3 hours wrestling the old part out and the new part in. Then you turn the key and nothing happens. Or worse, the hoses do not line up. You trusted the part number because you bought it from a reputable auto store. This is a classic mistake. Modern manufacturing means parts are often boxed wrong. Sometimes you get a version from one model year earlier where the transmission line hookups are shifted just half an inch. If you bolt that radiator in without checking, you will be draining fluids and pulling fans out all over again. The rule is simple. Put the old part and the new part side by side on your workbench. Compare every single mounting bracket electrical pin and hose fitting before you pick up a wrench. Taking 60 seconds to look closely saves you an entire afternoon of wasted labor. Trusting your eyes is great for basic hardware, but if you rely on those old-school instincts when dealing with modern computer systems, it is going to cost you dearly. I will explain exactly why at the end of this video. But next, let us talk about a free diagnostic tool you were born with that most guys completely forget to use. Number 5. The digital panic. You are driving home and you smell something sweet, like warm syrup coming through the vents. Or maybe you hear a heavy clunk from the front right tire when you hit a pothole. As soon as you park, you pull out your phone, go straight to a car forum, or ask the internet, what is wrong? The search results immediately tell you that you have a blown head gasket or a shattered transmission. Panic sets in. Here is the problem with internet diagnostics. Search algorithms are designed to show you the most severe, highly discussed problems first. But your car is a physical machine, and you have 5 senses. That sweet smell, if you just pop the hood, your eyes would instantly see a tiny pinhole leak in a $20 coolant hose spraying onto the hot engine block. That clunk if you took off the wheel, you would easily spot a torn rubber boot on a suspension joint leaking grease. You do not need to be a certified master technician to recognize a wet leaking hose, a disconnected wire, or a piece of torn rubber. Before you search online and convince yourself the vehicle is totally ruined, spend 5 minutes doing a simple physical inspection. Trust your eyes and your nose first. It will save you sleepless nights and expensive, unnecessary towing bills. Looking closely under the hood is a great habit, but there is one area where applying your old-school instincts to modern cars will absolutely destroy an expensive system. We will get to that critical warning at the very end. I had a retired firefighter tow his Chevy in last spring. He was completely convinced he needed a new transmission because a forum told him his specific shutter meant total failure. I spent 2 minutes under the hood and found one cracked spark plug wire arcing against the block. A $12 fix. The internet always assumes the worst. A good mechanic assumes nothing. Let us move to the next shortcut. Number 4. The direct voltage test. You are driving your 10-year-old SUV and the temperature gauge suddenly spikes. You pull over and notice the electric cooling fan is not spinning. Your old-school instinct is to buy a new fan for $300 and spend Saturday installing it, only to find the new fan does not work either. Here is the reality. That fan does not operate alone. It relies on temperature sensors, electrical relays, and wire harnesses. When the engine gets hot, a sensor tells the computer to trigger a relay, which then sends power to the fan. If any single link in that chain fails, the fan stays dead. Instead of blindly replacing a $300 part, do what professionals do. Unplug the fan and use a simple jumper wire to send 12 volts directly from your battery to the fan motor. If the fan spins, you instantly know the motor is fine. The actual problem is just a $15 relay. You just saved yourself hundreds of dollars and hours of wasted labor. Eliminating variables is powerful. But what if the easiest way to test a suspected bad part is right next to it? Before we go any further, if these shortcuts are saving you time, a quick like helps CoreCar reach other drivers who need this information. Now let us get to the most important ones. Number 3. The twin swap. You feel a heavy stutter when you step on the gas pedal. The check engine light starts flashing. You pull your code reader out, and it tells you cylinder number 2 is misfiring. Your old-school instinct might be to drive to the auto parts store and buy a new spark plug, ignition coil, and fuel injector for that cylinder. But wait, before you spend $150, look closely. Most modern engines have duplicate parts. Every cylinder has its own identical ignition coil. Instead of throwing money at the problem, swap the suspected bad part with a known good one. Take the ignition coil from cylinder 2 and swap it with the coil from cylinder 3. Clear the code, start the engine, and wait for the light to return. Read it again. If the code now says cylinder 3 is misfiring, the problem followed the part. You have just confirmed the ignition coil is dead. If the misfire stays on cylinder 2, you know the coil is fine, and you can try swapping the spark plug next. This method works for relays, coils, and injectors, costing you exactly $0 in diagnostic fees. Swapping parts is brilliant. But what happens when you bolt on a brand new part and it still does not fix the problem? That brings us to our next shortcut. Number 2, the out-of-the-box trap. You finally diagnose the problem, a dead starter. You buy a brand new one and spend your entire Saturday under the truck wrestling with rusted bolts. 6 hours later, you turn the key and nothing happens. You assume you made a mistake, or worse, an expensive computer module is fried. Here is the reality. Today, aftermarket parts, especially heavy electrical components like starters and alternators, are mass-produced with very poor quality control. Sometimes they get dropped in shipping. Sometimes they are completely defective right off the assembly line. When you pull a shiny new part from a pristine cardboard box, you naturally assume it works perfectly. But bolting a dead part into a broken vehicle creates a diagnostic nightmare. You will spend days buying other expensive parts because you wrongly assumed the new starter was good. The professional shortcut is mandatory bench testing. Before you spend hours installing that heavy piece of metal, make sure it actually works. Ask the parts store to spin it on their test machine before you walk out the door. Or safely hook it up to your car's battery with jumper cables in your driveway. A 2-minute test proves the component is alive before you commit your time and sweat. Testing new parts is crucial, but if you try to repair today's vehicles using the exact same techniques you used 30 years ago, you are walking into a massive trap. If you learned something new today, drop a quick like, because this last one is the trap most drivers completely overlook. Number 1. The analog ego trap. You have successfully changed your own brakes for 30 uninterrupted years. You know the exact rhythm of the job. You jack up the vehicle, unbolt the slide pins, pull the brake caliper off, and grab your trusty heavy-duty C-clamp. You squeeze that metal piston back into its housing, slap the brand new brake pads in, and drive away. So when your modern daily driver or your wife's new SUV needs rear brakes, you do not even think twice. You grab your tools, head to the driveway, and start cranking down on that C-clamp. Here is the invisible, highly expensive danger you just walked right into. Modern vehicles no longer use a simple, thick metal cable for the emergency parking brake. They use an electronic parking brake system. Buried deep inside that rear brake caliper is a highly sensitive electric motor connected to a delicate set of plastic and metal gears. When you pull that little electronic switch on your center console, a computer commands that internal motor to squeeze the brake rotor. When you take your old-school C-clamp and force that piston backward manually, you are fighting a locked electric motor. As you turn the clamp, you are literally crushing those delicate internal gears. You will not hear a loud snap, and you probably will not even feel it breaking under the immense pressure of the clamp. But you are completely shattering the internal electronic assembly. You bolt it all back together, turn on the car, and the dashboard lights up like a Christmas tree with an unclearable brake system fault. The solution is not paying the dealership. It is simply respecting the new technology. You need a modern, affordable diagnostic scanner with bi-directional control. Before you touch a single bolt, you plug the scanner in and command the vehicle to enter service mode. The computer tells the electric motor to slowly retract itself. Then you can change the pads the exact same way you did in 1995. Forcing the old way will instantly destroy 2 electronic calipers, costing you upwards of $1,500 in replacement parts and dealer reprogramming. This single shift in mindset is exactly why I have been able to maintain a modern fleet for over a decade. I have put well over 350,000 miles on highly complex vehicles without ever replacing a damaged electronic control module. You can still fix your own car. You just have to update your tools and put your ego aside. How many of these shortcuts were you already using? Drop a comment below. I read every single one. If this saved you from even one unnecessary repair bill, subscribing to Core Car is worth it. Every video we make is designed to keep more money in your pocket. But before you go, there is one more thing most veteran drivers get completely wrong. Core Car's next video covers the fuel myths quietly costing you at every fill-up. It is right here. Do not miss it.